Hey guys, it's Jordan Cameron back today with another update of the biggest blow off top followed by the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. Hope everyone's doing good out there today, guys. And I got to tell you right now, this video is going to start out with the sentiment in the crypto market. I'm just looking out there, and before we even get into our data and our charts, where we kind of look at our USDT dominance, where we kind of look at our global liquidity, Bitcoin, ETH, and all our charts that, why we think the market's going higher. I first just want to just point out where we are, right? We got Ethereum right now as we speak, currently about 13% away from all-time highs, when we literally just 4 months ago, people were panicking because of the tariffs. And we've seen Ethereum go up about 214% in 4 months. Just to put in that perspective, if Ethereum did another 214%, that would put it at an approximate price of about 13,000, just to put it in perspective of how crazy that move actually has been. All right. And, we have Ethereum very, very close to breaking to new all-time highs. We got Bitcoin at, close to 119,000 here. Bitcoin itself only about, less than 5% away from all-time highs. But when I look around the market, right, before we even get into our theory here and our thesis that we're going to see the biggest blow off top for crypto up to that 10 trillion psychological level, the 4236 Fibonacci, the top of our rising wedge, I just want to go over first and just kind of look at where we are sentiment-wise. And this is where this all comes into play, because if we saw a lot of euphoria in the market, if we saw a lot of people optimistic, if we saw a lot of normies, especially getting excited for crypto, obviously my mood would change a little bit. But when I come over here, and this is the crypto apps ranking on the App Store in the US, right? So for the Apple Store. And this is something that we track very often on this channel. And we look at this and we say, guys, Coinbase is only ranked number 278 right now, with Bitcoin at 119,000, less than 5% away from all-time highs, pretty much going parabolic at this point, and Ethereum pretty much going parabolic, though it is at resistance, right? Only, like we said, about 13% away from all-time highs on Ethereum, right? After just going up 214% in 4 months. But where is everybody? Why is Coinbase at 278 when we just saw back in July, Coinbase reached on as high as 63? Why have people been leaving, but yet prices have been going up? And I think this is all coming into play. There's a lot of disbelief out there, and I think this really sets us up. If we look at Coinbase being ranked number 278, for anyone that's new to the channel, we know that typically the market cycle tops happen when Coinbase reaches the number 1 app in the App Store, which we have not seen this cycle. And local tops usually happen when we see Coinbase reach that top 10, which we've seen 2 times. We saw that back over here for Bitcoin. If we just kind of slide this back over slightly, there we go. We saw that back over here for Bitcoin in December, and we saw that right over here in April 2024, the 2 most recent local tops for Bitcoin. Coinbase reached that top 10 apps, but right now it's at 279, guys. And like I said, before we even jump on into any of our favorite cryptos here and any of our favorite charts, I think that's important to note is that the normies and sort of the Coinbase downloaders and Coinbase users aren't getting enthusiastic about price just yet. And I think that is just coupled with the disbelief in the market, and why I think that ultimately, when we go over here to our total market cap chart, we are going to see this biggest blow off top in crypto history. We already have total market cap at new all-time highs. And I remember the hate comments when we were down over here, back down here in March and April, the hate comments saying, how could you think that total market cap was going to go into new all-time highs? Do you see the tariffs? Do you see what Trump is doing? Blah, 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 all that stuff. And here we are at total market cap at new all-time highs at 3.9 trillion, hitting 4 trillion yesterday. All right, another trillion. What's another trillion among friends, as someone else may say that So We hit 4 trillion. I think this is going higher, guys. And, as we kind of go along, we'll look at some of our, more of our statistics on the video today. But that was kind of what I wanted to notice first is there's not a lot of excitement in the market. And though we may get a short-term pullback here, I would not be surprised as right now it is Ethereum season. And, obviously if we go over here to the Ethereum, you guys can see that Ethereum, right, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take a genius to say that Ethereum is up into resistance, right? Anywhere between, this green box, right, between 4,000 and 4,000 and 5,000. A lot of resistance up here, a lot of local peaks, right? May 2021, November 2021, March of 2024, June of 2024, and December 2024. A lot of local peaks there. Got to be sellers, got to be people taking profits that we just saw a 214% move up on Ethereum in 4 months. Got to be a lot of people taking profits there, and it is Ethereum season. So I'm expecting Ethereum to continue to lead, right? And it's going to be a big reason why total market cap pushes higher, because I do think Ethereum is going to continue to lead. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the altcoin market, right? As you guys know, I do think Bitcoin is going higher, right? We'll discuss that a little bit later in the video. But Bitcoin has led this whole cycle, and I do think it's Ethereum's turn to lead into this cycle. And typically, like we've always said, when Bitcoin reaches new all-time highs, right, that's typically when we see ETH and the altcoins run. Well, I think it's very, very similar here for the rest of the altcoin market. We have seen the altcoin market move up, and we'll take a look at some of our altcoins, some of my favorite altcoins in today's video. But ultimately, I think it's going to be very similar to, the Bitcoin ETH relationship, right? Is when we see Ethereum finally break into those new all-time highs. That's when I think you're going to see the floodgates over on this Coinbase app indicator start to fly up towards the top 10. People flooding in and buying your favorite altcoins. I think is when you see Ethereum break into those new all-time highs, is when you start seeing, your favorite coins like XRP start to push some of these Fibonacci levels. When you see your favorite coins like Chainlink start to push into new all-time highs. CRV start to push close to its previous all-time highs. Crow start to push up into its previous all-time highs. But I think that's really going to come from Ethereum getting through this 4,000 to 5,000 major resistance. And though we may see a short-term pullback in the short term, nothing to be crazy about. Like we've said for the past 4 months since the tariff low, we're going to see pullback. Something's going to go up in a straight line. It's fine. Have patience. Everything's going to have its turn. Right now it's ETH season, and ETH is at resistance, right? Maybe we get a short-term pullback. That's fine, right? Maybe that leads total market cap to come back down and test the previous all-time high again towards 3.6 trillion. That's fine. I don't expect that to hinder our philosophy of people, everyone, your mother, your uncle, your aunt, your cousin, saying that crypto will change the world at Thanksgiving this year. Okay. Excuse me. As I cough in the mic and I break your guys' eardrums, I apologize for that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't subscribed yet, by the way. Only 25% of you guys have subscribed to the channel. If you want to join the journey as we watch this together of the biggest blow-off top in crypto history, and you want to save yourself before this market absolutely collapses, but I do think it's going to happen in 2026, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our journey here. So, for anyone that's new, right, as we kind of talk about a few things here, and how, we talk about a little bit of short-term price action, our major theory is that we're going to see the total crypto market go absolutely nuts. Bananas like we really haven't seen since 2017. I think it's going to happen very, very quick, and there's going to be some narrative that goes behind it that's going to push this market up to the 4236 Fibonacci level, which happens to also be the 10 trillion psychological level, which I think is kind of funny, as the whales like those round numbers. There you go, 10 trillion, 4236 Fibonacci. I don't think it's a coincidence. We did hit the 4236 Fibonacci to a T in 2021, and that's where we topped at 3 trillion. So, kind of funny. And it's also the top, right around that range, right? Depending how fast we get there, right around the area of the top of this rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern, which I think ultimately, though we do see this big blow off top for crypto, leads us to this big rug pull later on in this decade, through 2026 and 2027, before ultimately we go into our next secular bull market, in the 2030s, right? It's all kind of connected, right? And, we can go over some of our charts that we've talked about consistently. I think a big one, that we like to talk about on this channel is, if I can find it, do I still have it over here? It'd be nice if I had it up still. Let's see. I don't know if I have it. All right, let's open it up. USDT USDC dominance. Okay, here we go. All right, this is still our main driver of why we think the crypto market is going to continue to have a blow off top. I do believe this is going to at least reach the range lows. All right, and there's a big difference between the 6% USD, stablecoin dominance versus a 5% stablecoin dominance. That's about a 20% move, and I think that's going to be the main driver. Once again, this is a big range on stablecoin dominance. I do think that this put in a top right here in April of 2025 during the tariff news, and everyone was freaking out. We were saying that was the time to buy the dip. That was the time to be bullish, not the time to be bearish. And I think as this continues to move down and we get to range lows, that's the time to be bearish when everyone's going to be bullish. But I don't think that time is yet. I still think this is going to reach the range lows. And as you guys know, this is inversely correlated. So this goes down into the range lows. We're expecting total market cap to continue up to our range highs, right? Well, not range highs, but our parabolic highs over the course of the next few weeks to months, guys. All right. I do think when that final move happens, it's going to be very, very quick. I know it seems like it's taking a long time, but in reality, things are moving up, right? Things are looking good, and stablecoin dominance chart continues to be our main driver of why we think this market's going to continue higher over the next few weeks to months. Okay. Obviously, global liquidity gives us the timing. I do think that we're going to see some type of weakness come into the crypto market by the end of September. So I do think we're running a little bit low on time here. That's going to be what we have to keep an eye on, right? As Bitcoins follow global liquidity with a 2 to 3 month lag to an absolute T. I think we're running it a little bit low on time, right? Middle to end of September, you guys seen we are having this pullback on global liquidity. Typically, these pullbacks on global liquidity do lead to pretty big pullbacks in Bitcoin in crypto as well. So keep this in mind from a timing perspective. I think we have about a month, to a month and a half to a month to 2 months, a month. I don't even know what I'm saying. A 1 to 2 months time frame window here, where I think it makes the most sense for this to happen. But keep an eye on timing, right? We have our timing based on global liquidity. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one science, but it's been pretty accurate since 2023. And we have our price based on USDT, USDC dominance, right? Coming back down to our range lows. So those still look good. Those still look clean. All right. But, the big thing to watch here and the big thing to get excited about is, once again, getting Ethereum into new all-time highs, right? A 6-time resistance here between 4,000 and 5,000 for Ethereum. Let's get through there. And I think that's going to, like I said, that's going to get your XRPs into these Fibonacci level 4, 6, 8, 9 Fibonacci levels. It's going to get Chainlink pushing new all-time highs. It's going to get CRV pushing new all-time highs. It's going to get Crow pushing new all-time highs. As you guys know, it typically flows Bitcoin, ETH, and then the rest of the altcoins through 2017 and 2021 cycles. And I do think that's going to repeat in this cycle as we move forward. But all eyes right now watching Ethereum. Can we get price discovery on the biggest altcoin? All right, as it still is the biggest altcoin, and it is definitely taking back the show from Solana. It's definitely taking back the show slightly from XRP. And I think if you can get ETH into price discovery, that you're going to see a lot of that money flow back into these smaller cap alts. Your favorite smaller cap alts. Pick your bet. My bet is on fundamental coins. That's why I'm big on XRP, Chainlink, CRV, Crow, HBAR, XLM, right? A lot of these fundamental coins I think are going to do well towards the end of the cycle, because I do think there's going to be some narrative that's going to push these fundamental coins much, much, much higher. All right. So that's the update video today, guys. I don't want to make it too long. I don't want to make it too boring for you. Total market cap still above all-time highs. Bitcoin still at 119,000. ETH right into that major resistance zone. Could get a short-term pullback. Would not be surprised to see a short-term pullback for the market. But remember, that would not change anything. In reality, that's just what would make the most sense here, right? So hopefully we don't get a pullback. Hopefully we just kind of continue up. That would be nice. But obviously mentally in my mind, I'm prepared for something where, ETH pulls back to 4,000, 3,900, somewhere around there to retest these highs, right? Altcoin market maybe pulls back 10 to 20%, right? And then we make a higher low and continue up again, right? So the stair step, the disbelief, and remember, we're going to be over here watching the Coinbase app indicator, which right now is at 278 We got a long ways to go for this to get to even top 10, never mind number 1, fellas. Okay, so I'll catch you guys in the next update video, either today or either tomorrow or the next day. Make sure you guys stay tuned, but thanks for joining on in. Once again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join our journey of the biggest blow off top in crypto history, followed by the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.